Recording in progress.
All right. Welcome to the Village of Cottage Grove Library Board meeting on Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We are hybrid on Zoom and also in person at Village Hall. It is 6:02. I need to change my watch because I can't read it very well. So I'll call to order. We do have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted. This is the public appearances, public's opportunity to speak about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. Moving on, we will discuss and consider the minutes from the January 15th Library Board meeting. They're linked in the agenda.
Move to approve the minutes.
There's a motion by JP, a second by Megan. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We do not have any presentations. We have no old business. We have new business. We're kind of in a bit of a holding pattern for anyone who logs in and watches this. We will have our programming report as we always do, and I'll let Tracy take that.
You have the programming tracker attached to the agenda. I think we've had a very successful February with quality programs with really good attendance. Looking ahead into March, you can see we have quite a few programs for youth and adults. There are 2 new programs that didn't make it onto this tracker or this promotional piece. On March 24th, which is a Monday, we'll be doing a slime party at Parks and Rec building, and then on March 27th, we have the Wisconsin Historical Society coming to do a presentation about genealogy. So as always, help continue to promote, accept the Facebook requests, invite your people, just try to get the word out as much as possible, especially since we're no longer sponsoring individual events on Facebook. So word of mouth is pretty important. Any questions about February programs or March programs? Okay, thank you. And then secondly, sorry, one second. At the December programming meeting, you had requested that I think through evaluation criteria for programs so that we could assign a number to our programs to determine if we should do them again or what we might want to improve about specific programs to make them more useful to the community. So I just kind of threw something out there for discussion today. Does everybody see that attachment? Okay, so this was just my idea. I figured we could score programs, or I could score programs, assign them a score out of 10 based upon 5 different criteria. So the total attendance, the overall experience of the attendees, which is pretty much anecdotal or what I observe from those people who attend, whether or not they've met our DEI-AB goals, if they have some kind of literacy component, so we're continuing to focus on education and early literacy skills, and our likelihood of hosting the program again. Is it somebody we worked with? Is it like the water library where we work with them almost twice a year now? So I figured I could assign a category 0, or assign a number to each category, 0 to 2. 0 would be didn't meet expectations, 1 would be met expectations, and then 2 would be exceeded expectations. So I'd end up with a score out of 10. I didn't really give it too much thought, like a 6 and above. We would definitely do it again. I kind of wanted to hear your guys' feedback about this strategy and what number would be a threshold for wanting to make it a repeat or a recurring event.
I think that it's a good idea to have this and collect data on every program. And then maybe we compile some type of report for our year end or our programming workshop at the end to kind of make some bigger overarching decisions. I know that attendance, and we've been told by so many different libraries that it's really not attendance that drives a lot of the programs that we do, that it's the impact. And so that's where experience and our literacy components and those have a little bit more weight in my mind. But those are just my initial thoughts.
I think when we think about attendance, we can also think about the age category. I know when we did an event for teens last summer, we had 5 teens sign up, and we considered that a wild success. If we did a program for toddlers and we had 5 toddlers show up, we would maybe question the success of that program. So I think I could probably take that into consideration when assigning a score in that category, if you want that as a category.
Yeah, do you just want to have you as the rater then would do the rubric?
Would you want me to add this to the chart that I usually present to you so you could see the score that each of the program received? Or maybe quarterly I could give you a list of the scores?
Right now, the program tracker is just the
Attendance, really.
attendance category
Mhm.
and a name.
I could just add another column and say evaluation score
Mhm.
or something and just throw that in there. And then if you see a score that's 2
We
or a
could-
score that's 10, you can ask me why, if you have follow-up questions.
I'm not sure if you'd want this to be part of the evaluation criteria or is just maybe information with each event, but I don't know if we'd want to track like cost for the event or amount of effort, hours on your behalf, so that if it's a very little bit amount of time, but a lot of, a high score on the criteria, then it might be an easier choice to do again.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some way.
Hey, Megan,
I thought I was turned off. Sorry, can you hear me now? No. Switch Hi. Okay, sorry. Going off of what Ally was saying, I agree. I think there's some way to almost like the value of the program and the value of the time and the resources that are put into it. Because yeah, if it's a story time that we've contracted with McFarland to do and it doesn't take very much time or we have a set cost for it, that's one thing. But, the all community read and the amount of time we spend preparing the books and advertising and all that kind of stuff, I think that would be helpful too. Or like, oh, we had to, pay this person a higher rate for whatever reason. Like that's helpful information when we're talking about, is the program successful?
Okay, maybe I could take out the last one, the likelihood of hosting the program again, because the total score will tell us that, and change it to bang for your buck. Bang for the taxpayer buck. Because you're right, like something like the makerspace is a 5 to 6 hour ordeal from start to finish for me, but we have 80 people attend, so we kind of plug those in. What could we, JP?
I'm going back and forth and yes, that might be worthwhile as a score, like creating a rubric for it. At the same time, that could also be supplementary information as well, to help gauge, make more informed decisions on if we're kind of looking at different events, like, all right, now let's factor in our effort and time and cost to host it. Because at the same time, something that is intensive, like the makerspace, not going to score as well, but we know that's been kind of impactful, and it's something that we've done multiple times now. So it's one of those things that it almost would balance out against the experience likelihood to do this program again. So that's just my concern, is like you have that extreme in there, and is it worthwhile to have it as a criteria?
I do have another category on my individual tracker where I could put, this program cost us $20 and that was noteworthy, or this program cost us $400 and that's noteworthy. So that during our programming review at the end of the year, we could kind of find those outliers more easily.
Instead of criteria, but just more
Yeah.
information about it. Instead of criteria, but more just information about that specific program. I think that makes sense.
So maybe I could add under other factors to include, such as weather, conflicting events, I could add value. Taxpayer value?
Just notes. It's
Okay,
probably fine.
okay. So I won't change this then.
Right.
So, I mean, just to confirm, you said you weren't going to change it, but you were considering the total attendance removing or is it total?
I think I would leave total attendance, but make it relative to the audience
Okay.
in assigning it a score. So if it's a teen program with 5 kids, it's probably going to get a 2. If it's a toddler program with 5 kids, it's going to get a 0.
If she's the only rater, it's consistent.
That is true. It's like you were reading my mind there.
Oh, it's like there's some scientists in the room. Okay,
Good? Okay.
yeah. Do you have enough direction from us then to proceed?
Yep, I will add a category to the programming tracker and start plugging in those numbers.
Okay.
And also on my, this doesn't show up on your tracker, but on my version of the tracker, I have a column for contractor fees. So I'm able to kind of anticipate who we're paying the $200 stipend to or not. And that kind of helps me budget and forecast for future seasons.
Thanks, Tracy. Any more questions or discussion for Tracy? All right. We'll move on to number 9, communication miscellaneous business. Consider approval of vouchers.
I move that we approve the vouchers.
I second.
Sharing the microphone. Motion by Megan, second by Eric. Or any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We have no committee reports, so I'll just give my brief update. So obviously, due diligence efforts have kind of concluded, but you can, there is a referendum on April 1st. The village has contracted with Miller Communications, and the best place to find information on the referendum and questions about the project and everything that's kind of happening is on the village's library project page. That also includes, there's now a separate tab for the capital campaign, and all of that information is now posted as well. The other bit of information the village board voted on Monday, the library parking had gone through its revisions and plan commission and came back to the village board. And the village board voted to set the ordinance at a one space for every 400 square feet as the minimum parking requirement for a library or museum. I also plan on making a formal request for space for materials for the libraries, that the libraries accumulated a lot of supplies and an assortment of objects and all sorts of things that are used in library programming. And so I'll forward a formal request for space on behalf of Tracy to village staff and then ultimately to the village board for the March 3rd meeting. All right. There is no friends reports, so future meetings, probably not a facility subcommittee meeting again, but in a holding pattern. The library board is set to meet Wednesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. Zoom in Village Hall. I am also now asking, because there's consideration to move the village board meeting from that Monday, potentially could meet on the Wednesday instead. Would this group be open to meeting at, say, 5 or 5:30 on the Wednesday, if that works for everyone's schedules? Nodding head, nodding head.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I will, 5 o'clock. That gives us a little more time to situate the room then, between
Yes.
meetings. Okay. Also, a Zoom option would be an option too. I know people's work schedules are sometimes difficult to rearrange. I will let you all know if that is the case, that we do switch it or not. Future agenda items. The typical ones, okay. Other with that,
Yeah, I would just say your usual president's report will cover everything, kind of the big updates that are happening in this time period prior to the referendum.
okay.
Just wondering if we want to have a conversation in March or April about summer programs and what our priorities are. You know, last year we focused heavily on STEM and nature-based programs, but I'd kind of love a little bit of feedback from y'all on what I should be looking at.
Sure.
Thanks.
Give me something to add to the agenda. With that, number 15.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Seconded.
Thanks. Motion by Megan, second by Eric. Non-debatable, all those in favor? Aye.
Recording stopped.